It's 5, 4, 3.
It's that time of the week again where the two mad blondes join you, one from France and one from Johannesburg in South Africa, one who's warm and one who's not that warm. You can guess who's who, seeing as she's wearing a little vest and I'm wearing a big fluffy thing, and I think I might even put the hoodie on. Yes, it's myself, Melanie Walker, and Joburg, and Jenny Baxter from SAPeople.com over in Antibes in France. And Jenny, you've just been moaning about the fact that it's really hot and it was like really packed on the beach, so your birthday was great and really warm.
No, but you know, seriously, there was a South African couple who were on Reuters that went international this week, complaining about the heat in the UK and saying, well, they said, you know, we're used to the heat in South Africa, but it's what all expats say. Until you experience this heat, it's just different. It can still be the same 34 degrees or 39 degrees, but it's just different over here. It's just not, I don't know if it's more humid or something, you know? So you can't even drink tea to cool down because it's the opposite. You're just going to sweat and sweat and sweat.
No, I think if you've managed to handle 40 degrees and 95% humidity in the middle of the Doozy Valley during the Doozy Marathon time, well, then I think you can handle pretty much anything.
I promise you, you think that. But I lived, you know, I went to the Doozy, I lived in Durban, I lived on the Gold Coast, Australia. But Europe's heat is just, when it has a heat wave, no, obviously not the whole summer, it's just these few days that are just unbearable and nothing like what we've ever experienced in our lives.
Well, I've just seen a video from...
Maybe it's all the buildings, I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
All the concrete.
Not the concrete holding too much heat. But I've just seen a forecast coming in from the weather hooligan who's saying that there's a huge weather system. He said the Arctic, and I thought, hang on a second, Brew, we're down in the south, okay? So it must be the Antarctic.
It's
that
a
they're
very
actually
cold Arctic.
Very, very cold. It's now taken over the entire world. But they're looking at snow kind of over a lot of South Africa in the next 10 days. In fact, coming up as far as Witbank and maybe even into Johannesburg. So, I was just thinking, when was it? About 7 or 8 years ago that it snowed in July in Johannesburg. So let's see. It has been overcast the last couple of days, which is very unusual at this time of the year in Joburg. But anyway, so you're hot, we're cold. When we have the snow, I might even just be like a couple of snowflakes. I will take a photo and send it to you. Melanie's back garden. This is what it looks like when it snows. Anyway, so I know that's one thing that's been getting people very hot and bothered under the collar and all of that stuff, of course, was this last weekend's rugby. And didn't they just come back and acquit themselves beautifully?
Oh, it was amazing. I told you it was good that we were 1-1. It just made it that much more special, and how fantastic for Eben Etzebeth that not only did he win, but that his fiancée surprised him and sang the national anthem. Did you see that? That was so beautiful.
It was very sweet. Yeah, it was very, very sweet. I like that. And of course, it was his 100th cap. But I just loved the picture that you guys put up there about how to eat. What was it? How to braai a whale.
yeah, there were some fans in the audience. Yeah. 40 minutes each side.
40 minutes each side. Oh, that was classic.
But you know what I love? And also there was a guy, I don't know if you saw, we also shared. He put up a sign saying, I delayed my wisdom teeth operation or something, taking my tonsils out. There was something. He delayed an operation so that he could be there in the stadium in Cape Town to watch the Springboks playing. So, yeah, our fans are the best.
I see your cat's come back to visit again. Wants to walk on the computer all the time. Yeah, I've known people who have actually postponed their weddings because of test matches happening on that day.
Goodness. I must say, when Cassie was born, it was the last Seinfeld, and I almost wanted to delay her birth. But so I shouldn't criticize. But Mel, you know what I loved the absolute most out of all the highlights of this rugby, which had many highlights, was and we should also give a shout out to Bongi Mbamnambi, who also did 50 caps.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So well
Brilliant.
done to both of them. But my absolute best was, did you see Dan Biggar after the game when he just said about how much Wales had loved being in South Africa, how South Africans
Yeah.
were so warm and welcoming, and I hope that you enjoyed having us as much as we enjoyed being here, which was just such a love and so beautiful, and it's amazing how as soon as you throw love at something, everybody just throws love back. So
Yes.
so all the comments from South Africans were just fantastic, and were praising legends of past years, and yeah, it was gorgeous.
This is the great thing about rugby. It's the one sport where true transformation has taken place. And it's
Yeah.
probably about the only sport where it's actually happened. And it does bring people together. And we do love our rugby players and they love us back. So, I mean, what's not to love about it? Anyhow, there we go.
Yeah.
And, okay, so what news have you got in for expats? I know that there's been, we're always talking about the restaurants, about our wonderful restaurants.
I know. So I was really glad to see this, because remember last time we were saying about the 2 restaurants that had come in between 51 and 100.
Yes.
And then on Monday this week they announced the actual top 50. And I had noticed that Fane, which was in the second 50 last year, wasn't on. And I'm so glad. It's because they're number 37. So they're in the top 50. And sorry, and I said Fane because it's FYN, so I presumed it was like Fane.
It is Fane, yeah.
Oh, because I was reading in an international magazine and they had in brackets pronounced Fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
No, I would say Fane, because it's spelled
ja.
with a Y. En
Ja.
ons is maar Afrikaans, jy weet.
Ja.
Ons praat mos Afrikaans, sê ek net. Okay, so there we go. The one thing that I was like really, and some people actually put up there, why wasn't it actually put on television? Why wasn't there like a bigger hoo-ha made about it? Was with this Miss Supranational, where...
Yeah, where South Africa came first.
Yes.
Miss South Africa. But what I've never heard of Miss Supranational
Supranational,
before.
no, maybe it's a new competition.
I did my research. It was
Mm-hmm.
2000. It was launched in Poland in 2009.
Okay.
And I could not find what it means that she does for the next year. But
Okay.
there were over 68 countries. It is a huge competition, and she has won it, and it's brilliant. So
And she's divine. She's just absolutely so
she
gorgeous. So
is,
Miss South
yeah.
Africa, we're behind you 100% as always.
yeah, well done.
I mean, I know a lot of people sit there and go, oh, these beauty competitions. I mean, they're just so like, so last century. You know what? I think they're fantastic. Keep them going.
Because I've lived outside South Africa, it's just not something that comes into conversation. Whereas in South Africa, we knew who all our Miss SAs
Miss South
were.
Africa's are, yeah.
Yeah, Australia, France, England. I've just never.
Not a big thing.
No,
Yeah.
No.
It was so
However,
lovely
they
though. I
do
saw-
have people in the competitions.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but it's just not a thing like in America or here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did see was, because of course it was a former Miss South Africa's birthday this past week, Odette Scrooby, now Odette Jabert, and there was a picture of her with 4 other ex-Miss South Africas. They spent her birthday with her, which was lovely.
Oh,
So it's quite
happy
nice to see
birthday.
Yolanda Kloppers and, although the days of yore, and those were big things. Miss South Africa's were big. So,
Yeah.
big ups to them that they keep it going. Right
know
from
what
Penny
was-
Coolen onwards.
But, well, you know what's really beautiful about Penny Coolen? She came to visit me a few years ago, and because obviously she grew up, no, she didn't grow up, her children grew up in South Africa, and so I was friends with her children. So Penny came over a few years ago and invited me to a party up in the hills, and the person who was having the party had been her first princess in the Miss World competition in 1958, and they're still close friends, which is...
No, it's a thing.
Yeah. So
It is a thing.
Beauty
Anyway.
queens make good friends.
Yes.
Clearly.
And I tell you what, there's also a whole
You're
bunch.
one.
Of course.
And you're the best friend.
There we go. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. We keep it going. But then another beautiful story with women in it, of course, is Banyana Banyana. We have been speaking about them over the last few weeks as well. I mean, how amazingly did they do? I'm like
just
really...
really lifting the national pride. And so for all the expats out there, they have now qualified for the World Cup next year, in Australia and New Zealand. So please, if you're South African and in those countries, or you just care about South Africa, please go support them next year, because they so deserve it. And then don't forget, this Saturday, they're going to be in the AFCON final against Morocco in Casablanca.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, gosh, it'll be
support them
amazing if
flat
they
out.
win. Yeah, flat out.
Okay, so now news from expats. We've already mentioned that so many expats are having a hard time with the weather over in Europe, of course. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me that her sister and nephew went for a swim in the Thames, and I'm like, that's how hot it is. Okay, so.
Yeah.
And they're South Africans, and if they're saying it's hot, I mean, I just love heat, so I'd be quite happy to do that. And of course, Monday was Nelson Mandela Day.
Yes. Did you see Prince Harry gave that keynote speech at the United Nations? Oh, it was amazing. He spoke about just how precious Africa is to him. Nelson Mandela, how Nelson Mandela just always found a way to smile. And he said that in his bedroom at home, he actually has a picture of his mum, Princess Diana, the late Princess Diana, and Nelson Mandela in Cape Town. That's hanging on his wall. And he said the joy on his mom's face is just the best, and always lifts him up. And then let me read you what he said, so he's been going to South Africa since he was 13 years old. And he said about Africa in general, he said, I've always found hope on the continent. In fact, for most of my life, it has been my lifeline, a place where I found peace and healing time and time again. It's where I felt closest to my mother and sought solace after she died, and where I knew I had found a soulmate in my wife. Because remember, they went there, when he had just met her, they went there to get to know each other, and then I think they went again for their honeymoon. To South Africa, but in Africa. Yeah, so it was really good. That was his keynote speech. He also spoke about some important things like climate change and all that, but it was the South Africa bits.
Well, of course they would, because we're awesome. South Africa is awesome. And it was so nice to see so many people actually doing so many things for their 67 minutes. And I mean, even at the gyms, they had trolleys out for everybody to come and put food and blankets and everything to make a big collection to go and send down to people as well. So when people pull together, it's great, and that's where the whole idea of Ubuntu comes through, and for me that works. But then there was that story that I saw, and we talked about it. That story about the woman, the South African woman, who died in London, and nobody even knew for such a long time. And somebody put up there, Ubuntu is failing us, that nobody even knew. So we need to take more care about the people around us. And if you see that somebody's struggling, go out there and just give them that little bit of extra, whatever it is that you can actually afford. Even if it's just a smile to the supermarket teller, an orange for somebody on the side of the road, just be that person, be a real South African, okay? That's all we're asking you to do. And now the one thing I want to know is, Sex Lives of College Girls. I don't watch those kind of things, obviously. It's not my kind of viewing. I'm still plodding along with Vera on BritBox. But who's the South African actress who's in this Sex Lives of College Girls?
Your kids could love it. It's a great show. It's really, I think it's got like, I don't know, 97% or something on red tomato. What's it
Rotten
called?
Tomatoes.
Rotten tomato. It's not green. So her name is Lex King, and so she's a South African who was living in South Africa, and because they shoot so many international shows in Cape Town, etc., she managed to get into quite a few local international shows, and was then able to move over to America, where she's, doing so well now, and she's in this. It's called The Sex Lives of College Girls, and it's really cool. It's on Showmax, and there's a video of her kind of making out with one of the other characters, a female, on the show, and that video has gone so viral that 5.7 million people have already watched it just on YouTube, let alone on Facebook, etc. So,
Right. Okay. Well, yes, I suppose, next stop Playboy.
yeah.
No, why not? That's a lot of money. Okay. Anyway, so let's get on to some local good news. Okay, we'll just hop off of that little train for the moment, and go
You
go
are so not a
surfing.
prude. Oh, did you see that J-Bay hosted the World Surf League competition, which was
I had
super
heard about it.
successful.
Yes. Yeah.
Really, really good. I mean, it was a bit worrying at first. Are the waves going to be big enough? But it was great. The finals were unfortunately all Australian and not South African. But a gorgeous guy won. I think it's his first win ever. This very good-looking Australian guy. And if that's not inappropriate to say, we can't really.
No, we're allowed to read the menu every single day of our lives.
Okay.
Why not?
But he's absolutely gorgeous, 23 years old, and his mother, Helen, who has sadly passed away, was a surf champion herself. So for him, it's just, and J-Base, he said, is one of the best on the calendar. So he was just delighted to be following in his mom's footsteps.
I haven't been to J-Bay for years. I want to go down. Actually, I just want to go anywhere where it's warm and has a beach, to be honest with you right now. Yeah, and then you've also got the whole thing in Nelson Mandela Bay, which of course we've also been speaking about quite a lot because of the drought, like running out of water and all the kinds of things. And with organizations like Gift of the Givers getting involved and people bringing water in, etc., etc. So have we got any good news on that front yet?
Just more good news that the government has actually acknowledged them and actually said thank you so much to these private enterprises or private organizations that are helping. And the other one who they thanked is Coca-Cola, who are also helping put in some boreholes. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, Dankie.
Is that for the people as well as for the elephants?
I don't think they're putting in for the elephants. That's up to us. That's up to us to donate.
Yeah. Okay. So moving a little bit further up into the country, where soon, I believe, as I said, it's going to snow. Like they were saying, oh no, it's going to be snow in kind of like Mooi River and on the mountains and everything. So the Drakensberg, I'm sure, is going to look rather pleasant and might be gone by the time I go down in that area again. Which is sad.
Well, you saw them recently, the Drakensberg Boys Choir. They just recorded a stunning version of Butter. The BTS hit? Trevor Noah's favorite band, BTS.
Yes, I know who BTS are, the young South Korean, yeah.
Yeah. So the Drakensberg Boys Choir have done it, Butter, and you must go on SAPeople and look at it if you can, because it's all filmed actually far from the Berg in Umhlanga. But really iconic, because of course the choir is iconic in itself, and then you've got that whalebone pier, you've got the lighthouse, sweeping views from I don't know if it's an aeroplane or a
drone. Probably a drone,
sweeping views of the ocean.
You see, that people can only use drones these days instead of having helicopters, like in the old days. Yeah, like me.
Just imagining you jumping on a drone, flying around. I could imagine.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. I'll keep my little broomstick in between my legs and I'll be a witch drone, one of those things. But I mean, there's so much wonderful stuff happening. And of course, I didn't make the concert on Sunday because I was working, which was very sad, especially as Void and Elemental and I mean a whole bunch of other bands from the 80s actually performed. So it was lovely to see. I mean, I have seen the videos. Tim Parr's current partner, Penny Levi, she actually did a whole bunch of videos on the day of Elemental singing. So it was Tim Parr and Heather Mack back together again. And it just looked absolutely splendid. It was so lovely. And of course, everybody, like, Arno Carstens, and they were all putting up these pictures and videos and everything. So it was lovely to see this, and there was one person went and put on, one of the drummers had his link up. I can't remember, he was playing with Zolani, I think, and somebody said, oh yeah, just saw all of these very pale people running up the hills at Emerentia. So I said, well, not all of us have had the opportunity to go and top up our tans in Greece, darling. So it is the middle of winter, but it was just, I mean, I really wanted to just go and sit outside and just
car,
listen to the
yeah.
music. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, I was working, so I didn't get to go. But well done to everybody who was there, and of course, Roddy Quinn, who was one of the main people behind putting the whole tribute thing together as well, which I really loved.
Amazing. Did I tell you I went to Van Morrison, who I used to always listen to in South Africa? So it reminded me so much of being in South Africa. But I did a similar thing. We all went for a picnic on the beach. And
Yes,
then
yes, you did mention it, yes.
He was
Yeah.
performing there. So it was beautiful.
Well, I got to hang out with him in Ireland when I was living in Dublin. So yeah, he had a really, really awesome bass player. Can't remember his name. But we had a lot of fun when we were sitting in Ireland. Okay, and now, which I'm sure my one daughter will be jumping up and down about, although they seem to have moved over their allegiance to Harry Styles rather than Justin. But how is Justin Bieber going to be doing a concert when he's been so ill?
I know he finally announced yesterday that he's feeling better and he'll start again, I think, the end of July. The dates for South Africa, have you got them there?
Yes, 28th of September.
Yes, 28th of September in Cape Town,
Yeah.
and the 1st of October in Johannesburg.
In FNB, yeah. So we went to go and see him the last time he was here, and it was lovely. And my children were in tears, and they were hugging each other. And it rained, and of course we fortunately had tickets underneath cover, so everybody else got completely soaking wet. But it was just an absolutely wonderful concert. And I don't care what anybody says, and they say, "Oh my goodness, Justin Bieber," he was the commensurate showman. It was absolutely brilliant. So don't knock it if you don't have it. That's all I'm going to say to all those people out there. Those who can do. Those who can't, sit there and moan about the people who can. So just, you know what? Tula wena. That's all they get. So you also, you can only get the tickets for Justin Bieber through Ticketmaster.
Yeah, they just put out a bit of a warning because I think last time a lot of people bought tickets on a site called Viagogo or something. And they're not real tickets, so don't.
So there's a
Only
warning.
buy from Ticketmaster.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's one part of
what the
entertainment,
Ticketmaster says.
international entertainment coming into South Africa. So what entertainment do we have for people who are watching the small screen?
Small screen, you can watch the new season of Boer Soeke Vrou.
I want to go on that one. I want to be Vrou Soeke Boer. Do you think that they'd have me? I think it would be nice. I'll even brush up my Afrikaans. Because die vrou soek 'n boer
Suggest
nou.
that to them. Yeah, they should.
Yeah, Melanie's looking for a boer. Especially when I went and put up the latest boerbull ad as my story on Facebook with these guys with their short shorts and how short shorts should be short shorts. You know, this is they've got the measuring tape of how short that short should be above the knee.
Oh, that's brilliant. You know, when I lived in London, my friends always knew, or like I'd be sitting in a packed restaurant and a South African friend would walk in and my English friends would always go, "Oh, there's your South African mate." Because of the short shorts, which nobody else would wear. Maybe some Germans would wear.
Yeah, lederhosen.
Yeah.
Very short lederhosen. All right, so there's Boer Soeke Vrou, which we're now going to work on a whole new concept of me searching
Melanie.
for a boer. Yeah, and then there's also what Meet Malusi.
Which is also available. So these are for South Africans abroad, as well as for people in South Africa. And South Africans abroad can also watch Meet Malusi. It's a TV show. It's not a real person, and it's really good. There's also one, I forget what it's called, but if you're interested in the whole. Abalone, do you say abalone? Is that how you pronounce
abalone.
it? The whole
Perlemoen.
poaching thing, that's also available abroad on Showmax International. It's a TV show, so it's a story. You know, it's made up drama, but it sheds light on what is going on in the Western Cape with all the poaching.
Yeah,
and why
poachers.
some of these people need to, because it's their livelihood. You know.
Yeah,
it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can regulate something and there aren't backhanders going on, then I think it's a fine idea. But you need to actually have it so that it is sustainable. At the moment, when it's being poached, then it's just not sustainable anymore, and that's just how it goes. All right, so now. What have you got coming up on SAPeople.com as your big story for the next week?
Shame. It's a really awful headline, but there is some good news behind it. It's tragic, but there are some children who have cerebral palsy who are actually being eaten alive by rats.
Where is this?
in a little village in the Eastern Cape. It's where they are. The municipality has not been caring, and this amazing woman, we've often shared stuff that she does around the country. I don't know if you know her, Marilyn Basson.
I've heard of her, yeah.
And she's got 2 daughters who help her a lot as well. She's amazing. She's the founder of Bokke at Dion Herson Foundation. And she's gone in, she saw this, because that's what she does. She notices what's going on. She's investigated and everything, and she started a fundraiser so that we can all help to rectify this situation and to put pressure on the municipality to, make the building that the rats can't come in, for a start. It's something that should be fixed within 24 hours. It shouldn't be taking this long. Yeah. So at least there's her heading this up, and we're going to help her, and we hope our readers will help as well. Because can you imagine if this was your children?
No, I think it's absolutely appalling. Quite frankly, in this day and age, things like that should not be happening in a first world country. Sorry, excuse the parentheses. Anyhow, so that's what's coming up on SAPeople.com next week. If you want to find out more, of course, just get along to the SAPeople.com website, and of course on Facebook as well. And if you want to share your stories, share your pictures, share your views, and just let us know what is happening in your area in South Africa. We would be so over the moon. I know Jenny would be totally happy. And of course, don't forget, you can subscribe as well.
But
there's
Mel,
also a whole thing you can do. Yeah.
And just talking about all those pictures and videos, I don't know if you saw your friend Aggie again.
Aggie Orphanos, yeah.
Yeah, he sent stuff from Cape Town last weekend where it looks like Europe. There were people swimming, everyone was on the beach, just beautiful.
Yes, I know. I had my brother on the other side of the phone on video call saying, "Oh, look at me," and he's walking around like topless on the beach, going, "Oh, look at this! It's a beautiful day in Cape Town, and we're sitting here and shivering in our boots in Johannesburg." So I'm just like, whatever. There's a word for that, yeah. So don't forget, get hold of us, like it, subscribe. Give your information to Jenny, and I'm sure that she would be happy to hook you up with people all over the world, just not on Boer Soccer Fro. All right, we'll catch you again next week, Jenny. Thank you very much. And to the rest of you, thank you for listening, and we will let you know what's happening next week as well. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mel. Bye.